On June 24th at around 7 a.m., the Monkey River Bridge on the Xiarong Expressway in Rongjiang County, Guizhou, collapsed. A large truck, half of which had fallen off the bridge, was left hanging with its front end suspended in midair. The driver was trapped in the cab, unable to move, with a 200-meter drop below, creating a very dangerous situation. A nearby villager, witnessing the scene, rushed to stop other vehicles from advancing. Don't go, step back. I can't get through on the phone. No signal. I have no signal. No one has signal. We don't have signal either. You're lucky, bro. This is dangerous. We can only wait for the firefighters to come. Yeah, I can't get through to the firefighters either. No signal at all. Hold the car behind you steady. Don't let it come over. There's a small car over there and 2 more small cars. Don't come this way. Stop, quick. The video of the incident quickly went viral online, with many viewers expressing their shock, with some saying, "Oh my god, I'm shaking just watching this." Many marveled at how calm the driver remained. Fortunately, about 15 minutes later, the Guizhou Blue Sky Rescue Team, who were heading to Rongjiang for flood relief, passed by and quickly organized a rescue operation. Using ropes and a crane, they successfully rescued the driver trapped in the cab. Many online users remarked that the driver was incredibly lucky, with some calling him the luckiest truck driver. According to local media reports, heavy rainfall began in southern and southeastern Guizhou on June 23rd, triggering landslides that caused the collapse of the Monkey River Bridge at the section near the bridge's approach in the Duyun direction. CCTV reported that at 5:51 a.m. on June 24th, traffic authorities discovered the collapse and immediately implemented traffic control on the upward route. By 7:11 a.m., the road section was under full bidirectional traffic control. Other media reports indicated that residents living near the collapsed area had reported the incident. Additionally, a man in the video claimed to have seen vehicles under the bridge, suggesting they had fallen when the bridge collapsed. However, official reports clarified that the 3 vehicles under the bridge were construction vehicles from a nearby village, and the aerial drone surveillance confirmed no one was inside the vehicles. The collapse did not result in any casualties, though the authenticity of these reports has been questioned by many online. The rescued driver, Yu Guochun, recounted the incident. He was carrying 22 tons of ore and had departed from Kaili County in Guizhou, intending to deliver it to Jiangmen City in Guangdong Province. Around 7:20 a.m., his truck reached the Paitong service area before continuing towards the collapsed bridge. He suddenly noticed the road seems to sink, and despite braking immediately, it was too late. The truck's front end extended over the brake, suspending in midair. Thankfully, the heavy cargo kept the truck from falling. The Monkey River Bridge, a large continuous rigid frame bridge with a main span of 450 meters, has a deck height of 219 meters, which would have been fatal had anyone fallen. Regarding the bridge collapse, the official statement attributed the failure to landslides caused by heavy rainfall. However, many netizens criticized this explanation, pointing to concerns about potential construction quality issues. A video showed dirt surrounding the bridge piers being washed away by rain, creating large gaps underneath, leading some to question whether the foundation was built according to standards. Other netizens commented that government reports often deflect blame, attributing the issue to natural disasters during heavy rain or to overloading, but never addressing potential quality concerns. Despite the controversy, local authorities confirmed that the region was experiencing the worst flooding in over 30 years. Since June 20th, Guizhou Province's Rongjiang County has been heavily affected by rainfall, with some areas receiving up to 232 millimeters. The continuous rain and upstream water inflows caused river levels to rise rapidly, triggering landslides, road collapses, flooding of farmland, and property damage. Currently, water levels in local rivers such as Pingyong River, Zhaihao River, and Duliu River have exceeded warning levels, and a Level 1 flood emergency response has been activated. On June 24th, Rongjiang County's Flood Control and Drought Relief Command issued an evacuation notice, urging residents in flood-threatened areas to move to safer locations. Videos uploaded by local residents show that the county now resembles a flooded wasteland, with roads submerged and large trees almost completely covered. Many streets, shops, restaurants, and malls have been flooded, causing significant losses for business owners and residents. The floodwaters, carrying large debris, swept through streets, submerging and carrying away vehicles. In some areas, the water has reached the first floor level, while other areas are flooded to depths over a meter. Some people were seen desperately climbing onto rooftops to escape the flood. In areas with steep terrain, the floodwaters formed strong currents, and at one point, multiple cars were swept away by the flooding. Based on the still-lit taillights, it is suspected that there were people inside the vehicles.
Hey
everyone, the water in Rongjiang is flooding. Now our neighborhood, all the cars are flooded. The motorcycles are gone. They are all submerged.
A supermarket's refrigeration unit was swept onto the road, and someone could be heard shouting, "That's my fridge." A resident, pointing to several large cars almost submerged below, sadly remarked, "All these cars are done for. Look, there's even my car in there. Oh no, they're all gone." This man remained unusually calm despite facing floodwaters rushing outside his window and around 1 meter of water inside his home. A group of fish swam into his house with the flood, allowing him to fish freely without leaving his home. He caught a few fish and cooked up a delicious meal. A Xiaomi store that had just opened was flooded, with many goods swept away by the rising waters. The largest and busiest shopping mall in the county, Changshi Plaza, was submerged, with floodwaters pouring into the interior like a waterfall. At noon on June 24th, several merchants in the affected mall confirmed the incident to local media. One merchant said, "In just a few minutes, the water level rose so fast that we couldn't move our goods in time, resulting in huge losses." Miss Wang, who sells children's clothes on the second floor, stomped her feet in frustration, saying, "All the summer clothes I just stocked are ruined. It's worth hundreds of thousands." Next door, Mr. Yang's shop had its rolling shutter doors deformed due to the pressure of the water.
天菩萨，怎么得了咯？
Oh my god, what are we going to do? We can't get out. The equipment and machines in the shop are worth hundreds of thousands. What are we going to do? A whole year's work, down the drain.
Aerial footage provided by a local resident shows that the Village Super Sports Stadium, which had recently hosted a competition, was completely submerged. Nearby streets in the city were also flooded. Some residents were seen paddling through the neighborhood in plastic basins, with the basins almost reaching the second-floor balconies. According to local residents, the most severely affected area in Rongjiang was the Changba Street in the county, which is close to the river and at a lower elevation. Floodwaters had reached up to the third floor, forcing residents to flee to their neighbors' fourth floors. Everything, including household appliances and furniture, were submerged. This is the largest flood on record, with previous floods never reaching the third floor. Currently, water and electricity have been cut off, and local rescue operations are struggling to keep up. Many netizens expressed concern, unable to contact their family members in the area. One vlogger even posted her parents and her phone numbers on Douyin, calling for social rescue efforts. By noon on June 24th, a villager from a nearby village confirmed to local media that most areas of the county had been submerged. He reported that the water had been rising rapidly since 3 a.m., and by 9 a.m. it became uncontrollable. Another resident from the county said they lived in a low-lying area, where the water had already reached the fourth floor. They spent the night awake and moved to higher ground. The resident explained that there had been no rain in the county, and the water had come from upstream. The county is currently facing power and water outages. Wang Heng, a resident of Rongjiang County, spoke to English media, stating, "There is a fire department here, but there aren't enough people. The situation is indeed serious in the county. The water level rose very quickly because the Sandu hydropower station couldn't handle it and released floodwaters. Normally, Rongjiang County wouldn't have been able to withstand the water, let alone the flood release. Wang Heng also mentioned that Xinhua Township had also been severely affected, with houses in Yangjia 1 almost completely submerged, only the rooftops visible. Currently, water levels in Rongjiang are receding, but due to the higher protective dikes around the city compared to the county, it is difficult for the water in the county to drain. The sewers are clogged with silt, and large pumps are being used to drain the water. Wang Heng said, "The flood this year in Rongjiang is terrifying. The water levels were very high in 1996, but there were no protective dikes back then. Now, with the dikes in place, it's even worse than in 1996. Some bridges have been washed away, and in many areas, communication signals are down. Schools have all been closed." By 6 p.m. on June 24th, the floodwaters in the county had receded in some areas, but significant standing water remained. On June 25th, some merchants returned to their shops to find the interior in disarray, with little they could do but weep over the situation. Guizhou, a mountainous province, is experiencing widespread landslides and mudslides due to the heavy rainfall.
Hey, hurry and run! Hurry, it's too dangerous! Oh my god, it's so dangerous! Hurry, run! Oh my goodness!
According to reports from mainland media, the flood in Rongjiang County this time is the largest on record in the region. At 5 p.m. on June 24th, the peak water level of the Duliu River, which flows through the area, rose more than 10 meters in one day. The highest water level exceeded the guaranteed level by more than 5 meters. The peak flow reached 11,000 cubic meters per second, compared to the average flow of just 145 cubic meters per second, more than 75 times the normal flow. This is a typical flood caused by heavy rainfall. In mid to late June, southeastern Guizhou and northern Guangxi were continuously hit by extreme rain, becoming the national center of torrential rain. For 5 consecutive days, areas such as Sandu County and Leishan County in the Duliu River Basin experienced heavy rain, with the cumulative rainfall reaching 626.5 millimeters, more than the annual rainfall in Beijing or half a year's worth in Shanghai. Particularly, from the evening of June 23rd to the morning of the 24th, Sandu County experienced an exceptionally heavy rainstorm, with a 24-hour rainfall of 255.9 millimeters, breaking historical records. This torrential rain led to the collapse of the Monkey River Bridge on the Xiarong Expressway, with massive amounts of floodwater flowing into the Duliu River, triggering the largest flood in history. Starting from June 25th, with the subtropical high pressure moving north, the main rain band is expected to move away from southeastern Guizhou and northern Guangxi, indicating that the flooding will not worsen. However, due to soil saturation and the large volume of floodwater, local flood control pressures remain immense, and geological disasters such as landslides still require heightened vigilance. Another severely affected area is Rongjiang County, downstream of Rongjiang. Footage shows that the county is experiencing severe flooding, with some areas submerged up to the second floor. At 7:15 p.m. on June 24th, the flood peak passed through Rongjiang. The water level reached 195 meters, with a flow of 13,550 cubic meters per second, surpassing the flow in Rongjiang County. The riverbanks were no longer visible, and the first floor of residential buildings along the streets was flooded. The overflowing water also entered the urban area, submerging streets and homes, and causing some houses to collapse. Rongjiang County's Flood Control Department issued a Level 1 flood emergency alert, and more than 32,000 people were urgently evacuated. Local residents warned that Huiming Bridge had already collapsed, and the 4 sluice gates above it had also fallen. They urged fellow residents in Rongjiang to stay alert and avoid sleeping too deeply. A local resident in Rongjiang reported that many houses had been submerged, and the entire old street of Rongjiang had been flooded. Bridges on both sides of the river had been blocked, and only the second bridge remained open. If the rain continues, all bridges will be closed. A steel bridge had been washed away, and most of the city was without power. Many street shops on the old street had been flooded, with significant losses as goods were submerged. Floodwaters from Rongjiang continued downstream, affecting areas in Guangxi, including Sanjiang County, Rongjiang County, and Rongshui County. On the afternoon of June 24th, Sanjiang County's Fuluxiang Old Street, located next to the Duliu River, was flooded as the river overflowed its banks. The first-floor houses were completely submerged, and residents were using boats to urgently transport supplies. Sanjiang County's city area was also flooded, with water levels exceeding 1 meter. On the evening of June 24th, a resident from Datian village in Sanjiang County described the situation as terrifying, saying, "The water is rising rapidly here, increasing every 10 minutes. It's expected to rise by 3 meters, at least reaching the second floor." He continued, "The low-lying houses are already submerged, and because the electricity was cut off, the entire village is without power. People are moving things, and the roads are blocked." Fortunately, the resident's house, situated at a higher elevation, had not yet been flooded, but he was uncertain about the future as the flood peak approached. Many netizens expressed frustration, stating that the heavy rainfall in Guangxi had caused widespread flooding, but there was no rescue efforts. They criticized the authorities, claiming that flood control and rescue efforts had been neglected. On the morning of June 25th, floodwaters reached Rongjiang County in Guangxi, where the water level of the Rongjiang River surged to 118 meters, exceeding the warning level by 3.4 meters. Local authorities had made urgent flood control preparations. Videos circulating online show that, even before the peak arrived, the river had already breached its banks, submerging parts of towns and villages along the river. On June 23rd at around 6 p.m., Gansu Province's Jingyuan County also experienced a sudden downpour, triggering a mountain flood. The area, which typically receives little rainfall, had not seen rain in over 6 months. The sudden rainfall caused a massive influx of water, carrying rocks and debris that swept away roads and blocked traffic. Many local residents captured the terrifying scenes of the mountain flood, which quickly surged down the previously dry riverbed, carrying vegetation and debris. Workers on a photovoltaic project in the riverbed were swept away along with their machinery, and attempts to rescue them were unsuccessful. As of 2 a.m. on June 24th, at least 5 people were reported missing. Witnesses described the flood's speed, saying, "In just a few minutes, we couldn't run fast enough, and the roads were impassable. It was terrifying." Netizens commented on the incident, saying, "I heard that a worker in a Volkswagen Levita was advised not to drive, but refused, and both the car and the driver were swept away. After the rain subsided, workers walked down the mountain and found that the pickup trucks and excavators had been swept away and damaged, with some roads completely destroyed." Heavy rainfall had also caused extensive crop damage, particularly in the famous watermelon growing region. The watermelons were nearing harvest, but the flood destroyed entire fields, wiping out months of hard work for farmers. Since last week, strong monsoons have affected southern China, including Guizhou, Hunan, Hubei, and Guangdong provinces, with some areas experiencing historically high rainfall. The rainfall had caused river levels to rise rapidly, and the combined effects of large-scale dam releases have led to widespread flooding, severely disrupting residents' lives. According to Sina News, by June 24th, more than 400,000 people in northern and northwestern Hunan had been affected by the heavy rainfall. Enshi Prefecture in Hubei experienced a rare downpour, with 24-hour rainfall in Hefu County reaching 230.5 millimeters, the highest in the nation. In Guangxi, Rongshui received 829 millimeters of rain, and the Li River Basin is facing serious flooding threats. In Rongjiang County, Guizhou, the flood surpassed the 30-year standard, with large-scale evacuations in multiple areas. One netizen posted a comment, comparing the current situation to the chaos at the end of the Ming Dynasty, with economic collapse, deflation, disrupted domestic circulation, a real estate crisis, local debt crises, and financial turmoil, alongside widespread flooding. Some believe that the current situation in China is eerily similar to the end of the Ming Dynasty, and the collapse of the Chinese government could be near.